Well, it's a new year, and every new year it's very good to make a plan. And so we're going to talk today about a plan for finances. We were with our children over the Christmas break and grandchildren, and phenomenal as they are. And we were able to hear them talk about, our children talk about the plan they were going to make this year for their finances and the goals they were setting and what they were trying to accomplish this year.
They were excited.
It was very exciting, and it was also very interesting to such young couples to be able to hear them make a plan and be excited about something new like that. We as couples in marriage need to make sure we have a financial direction that we're going in our marriage also. And Dave Ramsey talks about, and he says many times, that live like no one else so you can live like no one else.
Yeah. When you're young, you need to be very careful and cautious, and you need to have that budget, and that will help you in the latter years that you can live with more of a cushion and you can be a little more secure. And it took us a long time to learn that, but we're on the other half of that now, Jeff.
We are.
And
up on the...
So hopefully we've got it by now, but I think that's why we're so passionate about this, because when we were our kids' age, we didn't have it yet, and we weren't as careful.
We made some bad decisions.
We did, but the Lord worked with us, and He got us straightened out.
He sure did.
You mentioned Dave Ramsey. We love the envelope system, and you've probably heard of that. You could look it up online, Dave Ramsey and his envelope system, and find out all about it. But we use that. We've used it for years, and we have all these different categories, and we have the money for that. And then when an expense comes up, it's not an emergency. We just go to that envelope, and we've got that for whatever the need is. And we know that cash isn't real popular these days, but it is so wise. We feel like it keeps you in check.
Yeah.
If the cash isn't there, if the money's not there, you don't spend. You stop. So we love that. Now we have when we do marriage conferences or retreats or one-day events, if we have a session on finances, we give the couples a packet that we have designed with a budget, with planning, with talking about their debt and how to arrange that and get out. We have a Christmas budget too, because we feel like it's so important, and it may be the first time that couple has sat down and talked about finances together.
Now you can also go on our website, marriagebytheword.com, and find one of these budgets also under our resource tab. You can click on there and you can download that budget and get started for the year really, really quickly and start plugging in your expenses in the blank spaces that are there and be able to see what's going to happen for you this year. It can be an amazing thing. I had a roommate in college that he wrote down every expense that he did. If it was buying a coat or gum,
anything,
or whatever, he wrote it all down. And
he became an accountant.
He became an accountant. But you can do the same type thing, not to that degree, but you can do the same type thing with the categories that are listed in that budget.
We should have learned from him.
We should have.
We should have taken up what he did. It took us a few years longer.
Absolutely.
Now listen, this may seem a little scary, and you may say, I'm not going there. But if you don't, and if you aren't working together, we have seen so many times one spouse can get the family in trouble. And then there's a real scary conversation that has to happen when you have to admit to the debt that you've gotten your family into or the money that you've lost. So we'd rather you get a little scared talking about a budget than having to have a real serious conversation later on.
Or arguments or anything like that.
Yeah.
It can lead to that. And we definitely don't want you to have to go through that for sure.
Right.
Organizations and businesses and churches
even,
all make a budget for their year. And it's so important for them to do that so they can keep track of the expenses that they have and if they are actually not overspending in certain areas. And why can't we do that in our marriages also? It's important for us to get a handle on how we're spending so that we don't overspend, we don't cause arguments, we don't buy things that we shouldn't be buying, and keeping track of all that together. We want to be one in our marriages, but we also want to be one in our finances. And so this is a way to do that. Of course, we want to always recommend that, and we do it, that we put God first in and of our budget. First expense that is there is our tithes to God. And that's in our budget for sure.
Right. And let me share this scripture that goes with just what you said. It said, commit to the Lord whatever you do, and he will establish your plans. Proverbs 16:3.
Great scripture.
Yeah, yeah, it is. And how many times did you look that up?
I did.
How
There's
many
over
times?
140 times that money itself is mentioned in the Bible. And so that just shows how important it is that God feels about it for money.
Right, and we have to be careful, with the love of money. That's
Absolutely.
Whole
That's
another
another
topic, isn't
that's
it?
another topic.
So listen, we want to challenge you. We want you to do like Jeff's roommate and keep up with everything you spend for 2 or 3 months. You'll be surprised how those little coffees or other little expenses
Diet Cokes.
Maybe Diet Cokes, how they add up over the course of a month and how much money it is. And I think you'll just be enlightened. And then sit down together and make a budget. Commit to it for even 3 months. And then come back together and evaluate. And I believe you'll decide that you want to continue this for the year. Because we want to control our money. We don't want it to control us. Now listen to this one last scripture. As Jeff was talking about couples working together and becoming one, this goes with that. Luke 11:17. Any kingdom divided against itself will be ruined, and a house divided against itself will fall.
It will fall. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you joining us today and being with us on this video of finances.
Yes.
But remember
Budgeting bliss.
Budgeting bliss. Remember this. Be intentional. Love your spouse.
And love the word. See you soon.